My name is Tylluan. I'm a solitary pagan witch, I'm an author, and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. And today's little talk, if my dogs will allow me to do it, because they've been very wound up today, today's little talk is about the loss of energy. Now this is it's an overlooked part of psychic self-defense, but I do think it's worth having a little chat about it here. The thing about psychic attacks is they come in all shapes and forms, all types, but usually they are from a living person. And in order to mount any kind of attack, you do need an awful lot of energy. People who are totally washed out, who feel very tired or in chronic pain, they are unlikely to be working a psychic attack, unless of course they're using their symptoms as a cover. But what does happen sometimes is that people will try and drain energy from you. We have referred to this before as psychic vampires, but it's something that comes up time and time again, so it's worth having another little look at it, I think. The thing about a psychic attack is that often it will manifest in several ways, and this is a little bit like, look over there and then they're doing something here. It's often designed either to intimidate the victim, or it's designed to make them focus on one thing while something else is really going on. But where does this energy come from? Because people who launch a psychic attack very often, they do need more energy than the rest of us. I mean, I need sometimes, when I have a bad day, I need plenty of energy just to change my shoes. I know yesterday I was absolutely frozen, and it took me about 4 hours to get the energy together to change into my slippers. I mean, people will just say to you, oh, why don't you just change into your slippers? Your feet would be nice and warm. And I'm like, but I can't. I haven't got the energy to do that. Now, when this is not a psychic attack, by the way, this is just because I have a number of health issues. But when you get a psychic attack, you find that an otherwise healthy person will suddenly start to suffer a loss of energy. And there are two things that I'd like to really deal with here, because they came up recently with a friend of mine, and I think they're really worth talking about. The one is the loss of time, and the other is the loss of place. And when a psychic attack is being operated, they will sometimes draw energy, and you notice it as a loss of time. Now, this is a funny one, but it's very easy to spot. And that is when people repeatedly, and we have to say here, first of all, we're not talking about people in the grip of early Alzheimer's or dementia. We're talking about people who don't have those kind of issues. And yet, suddenly, sometimes in a particular place, will be wondering, what day is it? What time is it? What day is it? What day is it tomorrow? What day was it yesterday? And he goes on and on. I mean, this is the thing. The point is that people around them will notice it. I know, I remember with my father, and he was psychically attacked quite badly when I was young. And it's one of the things that made me get very interested in this aspect of witchcraft. And I remember this loss of time was something he suffered very badly. He was always on, what day is it? What time is it? What's this? What's that? Now, he had a perfectly good watch, and we always had a calendar in the kitchen. So you had to say that this kind of loss of time, although I didn't realise it at the time, was more than just forgetfulness, because although my father could be gloriously eccentric, he wouldn't forget, for example, things like chemical formulas or stuff like that. He had perfectly with it mind for stuff like that. But stuff like time and that, he became almost that he'd sort of slipped through a crack. There was nothing else that manifested that way but the loss of time. And I have heard this happen a couple of times now, where people have lost time when they are being drained. Now, you could say, well, they're not being directly attacked, and I know my father was, but it can sometimes be that the attacker is draining someone's energy in order to attack a third party. So they pick on the most vulnerable, the person most likely, sometimes the person closest to them, or somebody who is likely not to notice. And they will draw their energy off and then use it to go and attack somebody over there. So we have to take it seriously. If somebody is taking your energy, it is an attack. They mightn't be setting out to do you harm in an active sense, but passively they are, because they're taking away energy which is yours and they have no right to it. They haven't asked permission from you, and I doubt you'd give it to them anyway. And if they do ask permission, please say no. Please, don't get drawn into that. Never ever fall for this business, well, I need more energy because I don't have enough. No, bugger that. Go and tell them to go and find their own energy, right? So that's one. And the place one is another. I've never entirely got to grips with the place one, but the place does the same, where people get very lost. They don't quite know where they are. They suddenly think, oh, I don't remember coming here. I don't remember doing this. Now, yes, that's okay up to a point. But if it's accompanied by a loss of energy, if you're not only losing, if it's not just simple forgetfulness, but you are beginning to wonder whether you're losing your mind, then I think you have to think seriously that somebody somewhere is taking your energy. Some people take it deliberately, most do. Some take it, what I would say, carelessly. They drain you because they can. I have known some people where the air is virtually tingling around them by the time they've finished with their nonsense. And this is the reason they need to drain energy off others, because basically they've exploded. They're like a firecracker going off. And sometimes you just have to sit down and say, look, I'm really not putting up with this. And then you have to try and safeguard yourself, shield yourself in various ways, just to keep yourself on an even keel. But this business of losing energy is a very important one. There are people who feel they don't have enough energy and therefore they are entitled to siphon it off. Well, if you think of it, it's like stealing petrol from a car. Same thing, same principle. It's not their car. They don't have any right to it. And they come along with a tube and a jug and a funnel or whatever it is they use, and they go and siphon it off. And you can't get home because you don't have enough petrol. And in the same way, these people who siphon off your energy and leave you bewildered as to time, place or anything else, they have no right to do it. It's very important to remember that. They have no right to do it. You have every right to protect yourself against that, because it's wrong. It's never going to end well. So, I hope that's helped a little bit. It's raised awareness. That's what I was trying to do. I'm not trying to give you the various methods you can use for shielding and protecting yourself. We can do that another time. But what I'm trying to do is raise awareness so you understand the different types of psychic attack. And in this case, it is an attack. Although it mightn't be an active one, it's a passive one. But it's still something you have to guard against. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.